Welcome to Bandits Keep Actual Play. I'm Daniel. Today, the Rangers of Arkfall are continuing their quest. They have slain Hydra, and they've made their way down to the Ogre Lair. We're using original Dungeons & Dragons for this solo adventure, as well as chainmail and outdoor survival. Okay, so we're going to use Axeman's Deck of Many Dungeons here. What we do is we set up the first room, the entrance, by shuffling up the aces and picking one. Okay. This is our entrance. And then what we'll do is we draw cards from the deck to flesh out the various rooms as we go through. And if we get to a place where there's no more ways to go, then we draw one of the kings, and that's like our final room. So I'm going to say the final room in this case will have the loot in it effectively, the magic shield, I think it is, and a potion of growth. There's a total of 9 ogres in here. And anytime we encounter something, there's going to be a number of ogres. We'll say 1 to 6 ogres until they're all gone. And that's basically how we're going to handle this. I don't think we're going to worry about other kinds of monsters. If we find the dungeons bigger, well, I should say that if we slay all the ogres, the final ogres that we encounter will be the final room. And if there's still more to explore in the dungeon, we'll just assume there's other things here that we can continue to explore. All right, so the way I'm going to do this is we know there's 9 ogres here and they're the primary monster, but because it's a dungeon and I want to make it interesting, what we're going to do is we're going to follow the general rules for OD&D, which is that if the room, we'll roll in a room on a 1 or a 2, it's occupied by a monster. If that's the case, we will roll first. On a 1 or a 2, it will be an ogre or many ogres. And if we roll anything other than that, we'll roll randomly on the first level monster chart from the Underworld and Wilderness Survival. If we Underworld and Wilderness Adventures, and if we once we encounter all the ogres, the final ogre will have the magical shield, and I guess they'll be using it, right? And the potion of growth. The other ogres will have some gold, because ogres caught outside the lair, as they say, have 100 to 600 gold pieces apiece. So we'll do that as we go. Every other monster will roll to see if it's their lair, but we're not going to worry too much about that because we're just here for some quick loot, but who knows? Maybe this will work out for us. So, I should also mention that I can't remember which magic user, but one of them has continual light. So what I've done is every one of the characters has an object with continual light on it. They won't all use them, obviously, because we don't need that much light. But the person leading the party, in this case being the cleric, is going to have their holy symbol with continuous light revealed. And one of the people at the end of the party, this human magic user, will have it. They have a gem on the top of their staff of command that is normally covered with like a leather covering, so it doesn't always shine. They pull the leather covering off to show that it's glowing. So we basically have light in the front and the back of the party that is magical, so we don't have to worry about keeping track of that. But I will have to track the turns for random monsters, that is wandering monsters. So I will use my normal guy here. I'll try to roll in here too, but if I'm all over the place, I might break back out this roller. Sometimes my dice go bouncing. All right, so here we go. We enter. Oh, I lost my mini. There he is. Okay, we enter in. So I think the way we're going to do this is, it looks like that's locked. So we're going to actually move to this. And we're going to listen. And I can have up to 3 characters listen. So we're going to do that. We're going to have 3 demi-humans listen, which means on a 1 or a 2 they hear something, if there's something to be heard. Okay, so 2 of them succeeded. So if there's something on the other side of the wall, then it's not going to surprise us. So let's actually flip out the card. All right, yeah, looks like. All right, so it looks to me like there's basically a hallway and another set of doors. So I'm going to say that you wouldn't necessarily hear anything there. So we're not going to worry about that at this point. Now, in my game, I don't have thieves. So what we do is we use skeleton keys. And we actually they have 2. So I actually have 3 of them. And what we're going to do is on a 1 or a 2, it'll be right and we'll open this lock. Otherwise, we're going to have to bust it down. Yeah, one of the skeleton keys opens the lock. So we're able to walk through soundlessly and move up to this door and listen here. This is all one turn because it's all pretty fast. And once again, we'll hear something if there's anything in that room. So let's take a check to see if there is. This says that there's a monster. So I think we're going to just say there's a monster in here. So let's roll. Is it ogres? It's not. All right. Well, unless I roll ogres on this chart. So let's look. Something's in here locked up. So this is, again, Underworld and Wilderness Adventures. And we're on, let's see, ogres appear on level 4 of the dungeon normally. So we're going to call this a level 4 dungeon. So if it's a level 4 dungeon, what we do is we go level of the dungeon, 4 or 5, we roll a d6 to see what chart we're going to roll on. 6. So we're actually going to roll on the level 6 chart. Maybe that door was locked for a reason. Could be something bad in here. Let's see what's in here. Okay, so we're rolling on this chart. Where we can hear it, so hopefully we'll be able to identify what it is. 5. Ooh, is that Gorgons? Okay, so there's Gorgons in here. Now, because it is a level 6 monster, it's going to be just 1, okay? So there's Gorgons in here. We hear a metallic sound of hooves on the ground. We hear, or whatever sound bulls make. And God, we're going to make the decision. We're a fairly high level party. So let's do something here. I'm going to roll the bones. So this is an oracle from Tales of Argosa. We're going to roll the bones, and we're going to see if anybody in the party knows what it could be. I'm going to say it's likely, which means that if I don't get a yes, I'll re-roll one of the dice. So let's do that. Oops, re-roll this one. Okay, so I got no and yes, so I'm going to re-roll the no, because it's likely. Yes, so I get double yes and a sun. That means we definitely know what it is and something positive. So I'm going to say we know everything about these creatures. So I'm going to look at the monster. Because there's a few things we need to know. Number one, we need to know if they are considered a fantasy monster. That is, only certain things can hurt them, because that will be important to us. We also need to know, basically, if it's even possible for us to defeat these things. All right, Gorgons. So, of course, if you don't know, a Gorgon in Dungeons & Dragons is basically a bull made of metal that breathes a gas that can petrify you. So, again, I'm going to read my entry. Gorgons, area effect petrification. Okay, in lieu of a melee attack, the Gorgon can billow forth a cloud of magical vapor that petrifies any who breathe it. Those within range of the vapor must roll a d6 to avoid inhalation. Normal types avoid on 4 through 6, heroic types 3 through 6, superheroes on 2 through 6. So everyone here... No, it's not true. I only have one hero here. So most people will avoid, basically, you have a 50-50 chance that they're going to be turned to stone. That's if it gets close enough to us to breathe. If we can kill it quickly, because it's not a fantasy monster, which means we can kill it with normal means, then, so let's see if we know how tough it is. Now, I'm going to just tell you, obviously, the actual hit dice and stuff, but if you were describing it, in the game, you kind of say if it was tough or not. Okay, Gorgon. All right. Okay. Yeah, they defend as 4 heavy horse. Okay. So that's pretty tough. So the question is, and since I got the sun and we know everything about them, I want to see what treasure type they are. Because we're going to assume that, well, we know that there's treasure. I'm going to say there's definitely treasure in this room. I know you're supposed to roll, but I feel like with the sun, we know that there's treasure. Okay, so do we want to face this? This isn't what we're here for, but this could be something interesting. We don't have any spell that can really help us, but we have all the bows. So you know what? I think the party is going to decide to go for it. What we're going to do is the following. And this is risky, but the cleric is going to try to open the door. This is a wide corridor. It's a double door, so we could all line up. If we open the door, we have a chance of surprising this thing, which is fantastic because then we'll get 2 attacks. But even if we don't, chances are we're going to at least get to fire our missile weapons. the cleric's going to once again risk their life. The cleric's always risking their life here. If we try to open the door and they are unsuccessful, then I think we'll rethink whether or not we even want to do this, because if we can't surprise it, it might be very bad for us. So here's the cleric trying to open the door. They can open it on a 1 or a 2. No. Okay, they slam into the door. Okay, at that point, obviously the creature on the other side hears what's going on, so we have no chance of surprising it. So now we have to decide if we want to go for it. You know what? I think I'm going to try one more time, and everybody's got their bows ready, because if we all let loose with our bows, we might be able... I'm not even looking at the numbers, because I feel like that's about the balance. Like, players wouldn't see the numbers, so I'm not looking. All right, here we go. Open the door, cleric. Oh, no. Slam into the door again. Nothing. Okay, now it's definitely agitated. So I'm going to do a little oracle here. Does the Gorgon charge at the door and try to slam it open? No, it does not. And I got a good, which tells me that it actually retreats back. For whatever reason, it doesn't, it's like it's going further back. Maybe so it can get a better charge. So we're going to say, because this good, that it's going to be far away when it opens the door. So that's to our favor. Okay, we need to get this open. We're just going to, one other character, the one who has the least ability to fight this guy here. Well, and plus they also have that nice +2 sword. So these two are going to try to open the door. The rest are going to be ready with their bows. No. Oh my God. Okay. So once again, what's the reaction to this Gorgon? Does it try to bust the door open? It does not, but now we have a skull. So it doesn't try to bust the door open, but I think I'm going to say that it moves right up to the door. And we realize that if we open this door, we can actually hear it like pushing its horns against the door. And I think at this point, if we try to open the door, we're going to be in melee with this thing, and it's just not going to be a good deal. In fact, there's even a chance it might try to blow its breath through the door. So we're just going to say no to that and move on. Okay. All that probably took 2 turns, so I'm going to now quickly roll to see if there's a wandering monster. There's not. Okay. We leave the Gorgon there. I'm going to make a note to myself, because we might come back for that. If we can get this thing surprised, which obviously won't happen right this second, but if we come back in a while. Okay, so what I did just, about 7 of clubs, Gorgon. That's my note. All right, so let's move on. We'll come back down here. Since we have the key, we're going to lock that door, just to be safe. Come back into this room. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so we can do all that and get to this door. And that'll take 1 turn. And let's roll now. Now, again, the wandering monster comes at the end of a turn, but I'm going to roll now because I want to know if it's going to come. Okay, no. So we listen at this door. Again, 3 of us. Okay, 1 hears if there's something there. Okay, again, we wouldn't be able to hear anything there. So we're going to try to open the door. I think 3 people are going to try to open just to make it. We want to get through this door. No, God. We do have a knock spell, but I'm not using it. All right. Try again. Okay, now we smash through it. Okay, so this door is open, and we're going to spike it open. So I'm going to say that between walking down, listening, opening the door, spiking the door, that's that full turn. So on turn 5, we're going to come up and investigate this corner. So I'm going to roll here to see if there's going to be a wandering monster on turn 6. There's not, which is when we have to rest. So turn 5... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're going to stop here and look. We can go a little bit further, but okay. All right, so we stop there. Again, I'm not using those things. So there's not going to be a wandering monster on 6. I think we can still listen at this door this turn and maybe even open it. Okay, we listen. Is there a monster in there? There's not. All right, can we open it? We can. All right, so we open up this door, close it behind us, spike it, and we have to rest for turn 6. Okay. So we've now been in the dungeon about an hour. Moving forward, we unspike the door. We have to open it again, of course. Opens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can just get to the corner at the end of turn 1. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's a side entrance. That's kind of nice. Or side exit, depending on how you want to look at it. We see that down there. Let me roll to see if there's going to be a wandering monster at the end of turn 2. Only counts if it's inside the thing. There's not. We're going to move here, and I think we should be able to listen to both doors. It'll take the whole turn, but we'll do that. So, door to the little room. We don't hear anything. Door to the big room. We do if there's something there. So again, by that, there's a monster, but I don't use that. So is there a monster in this room? There's not. It's empty. Well, actually, there could be treasure. I should roll here too. On a 1, there would have been treasure in that room. No. Okay. All right. So we listen. I mean, we don't know, obviously, that we failed one and succeeded in the other. We just know we don't hear anything in either. So I'm going to try to open the door to the small room first. 3 characters are going to push it open, which we do. Now we'll check to see if there's a monster in here. There is. Okay. 1 or a 2, it's an ogre. It is. Okay. So this is turn 3. We push the door open. It's going to be this whole turn because we're going to encounter this ogre. So I'm going to count that now. Door busts open. Let's just do a couple things. It's a small room. So, I mean, how many ogres could be in that room? Well, it's 30 feet. All right. So the way you figure out how many monsters there are is it depends on, they're usually in a group of 1, unless it's something like a group that's always travels together, like bandits, right? So I would say an ogre is something that might often be alone. But if there's more than 3 party members, so we have 6, you double that. So there's going to be 2 ogres in this room, but I like to keep it a little variable. So we're going to say there's going to be 2 to 4 ogres. That is a D3 plus 1. Okay, there's 4 ogres in this room. So let's see. Is anybody surprised? Both groups are surprised. So we stand flat-footed looking at each other as doors open, and then we're going to go into the next round. Now, this is unfortunate because if the ogres had been surprised and the party wasn't, then I'd be able to throw a sleep spell, but they're way too close, right? They'll get to me before we get a sleep spell. So it doesn't actually matter who wins initiative because both groups are going to move at each other, and we're just going to go into a melee. So let's figure that out now. Okay, so we have 4 ogres. Okay, so there's 4 of them right now. There's 9 total. So we have 4. I should have done this here, 9 total. So there's 4 ogres here. Now, again, each ogre is 4 hit dice. Okay. So we've got to do 4, effectively hit them 4 times in order to do any damage. This entire turn is going to be taken into combat. Really, what's going to happen is, well, no, it does matter, because if the ogres charge, then we're going to be fighting in a doorway. We might want to do that anyways. Because I think, okay, so I would say 2, my guess would be that ogres are big, right? They're 7 to 9 feet tall, but this is only a regular sized door. So typically I allow up to 3 people to fight at a doorway if you've got spears and stuff, you know. But ogres, of course, are big. So I would say 2 would be fair, but let's say, can 3 ogres fight in a doorway? Yes. Okay, so we would know that. We'd know there's enough space there. So that being the case, we don't want to be faced with 3 ogres. Well, it doesn't matter, I guess, because only... Okay, no, it does matter. Let's roll initiative, because that'll make a difference. If the ogres win, then we're standing where we are, and that's just the way it is. So initiative, ogres win. Okay, so that makes that decision. So what we've got here is front rank in plate mail, front rank in plate mail. Let's actually set these guys up as they're fighting. So we're going to say ogres are this way, right? So the way we're fighting is like this guy has the sword. So an elf with a sword a magic sword is exceptionally effective against ogres. So they're going to be fighting in the front as well. Then they have, no, they don't have a spear, so they can't fight from the back row. So they're actually going to stand back. They won't be able to attack, but this guy's got a spear. they also do not have a spear. I only have one character with a spear. That's really weird. I guess I got rid of all my spears. Okay. So really, this is our combat group. These guys are going to defend the rear. I don't think, I'm going to quickly check. They have a Staff of Command, which is a magic item, but I don't think it can actually... Staff combines animal, plant control, and human control. Human control is like a charm person, and I don't think a charm person works on an ogre in OD&D. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. We'll quickly check that. So normally I wouldn't allow a charm when people are charging in, but a Staff of Command is a little bit different. It's more like, for lack of a better word, violent. You're not trying to like trick somebody. You're like totally commanding them. So like stop, that kind of thing. Two-legged general minimum figures near to or less than man size. Okay, so no, definitely not an ogre. So they can't Staff of Command the ogre anyways. So these two guys are going to stand with their bows and stuff ready. Well, they don't have a bow. Oh yeah, they do have a bow. How do they have a bow? Oh, I guess they have a bow because they can theoretically use it. We'll get into that if it comes up. But they're going to stand in the back guarding. These guys are going to fight the ogres. 3 ogres are going to attack them. So let's talk about the math of this. I'll do the ogres first, even though, again, melee is simultaneous. But they did win initiative, so why not? So ogres attack as heavy foot. The party is defending as armored foot. So what we do is we compare those two numbers. Heavy foot versus armored foot is 1 die per 2 men, 6 hits. So we're saying that 3 ogres can fight in the doorway. So effectively each ogre is 2 men, right? So we get 2 dice per ogre. So 1 ogre, 2 ogres, 3 ogres. Okay? Now they are 4 plus 1 hit die, which means they can add 1 to one of their dice. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll them 1 at a time. Ogre number 1 does not get any hits. Ogre number 2 does not get any hits. Ogre number 3 actually gets 2 hits. So that's very good for them, obviously. But we look at who can be targeted, which is these 3 in the front. He actually has only 2 hit dice. They have 4. They've got 3. So I'm going to roll a d6 now to see who it targets. If it hits this guy, he's down. It does not. The cleric gets targeted, but for once in one of my games, the cleric does not go down. Oh, actually, he has a shield, so he would have been all right, which I'll talk about in a second. Now, that's the ogres attacking, okay? Now the party gets to attack. So they are attacking, again, spear, heavy foot, sword, heavy foot, sword, heavy foot, mace, heavy foot. So heavy foot versus heavy foot, again, we use the average, is 1 die per man, 6 hits. So the cleric fights as 2 men. So 2 dice, any 6s are hits. Nothing. Okay? The halfling has a magical sword. Okay? They fight as 4 men. So 4 men, plus it's a +1 magic sword. Okay? Any 6s are hits. And they don't have any pluses. That's 1 hit against one of the ogres. And we abstract this, so we're just spreading them out wherever they go. Next, we've got this elf right here with the sword +2. Now, this guy is only 2 men, right? But he has a +2 sword. And what's nice about this is that if he hits, all of his hits count as double because elves with magic swords do double hits against ogres. He hits once, okay? Which counts as 2. So now we have a total of 3 hits. Doesn't quite take out a single ogre yet, but close. This elf in the back is using a spear, right? So they're heavy foot as well. Nothing magical. They roll 2 dice because they are 2 men, but they're 2 men +1, so they get +1 to one of these 2 dice. 5 + 1 is 6. Okay. Boom. That 6 kills one of the ogres. So one of the 4 ogres is dead. Since the ogres already attacked this round, the next round coming up, there's only going to be 3 ogres attacking. So one of the ones in the doorway falls, and somebody steps up to take their place. Ogres are heavy foot, so they won't check morale until they lose 33%, which means they got to lose 1 more, which will be 50%, obviously. Now, next round, same thing. The ogres don't change because there's still 3 of them. Again, they're 4 plus 1, so they can add 1 to their die. First ogre, nothing. Second ogre, 1 hit. Third ogre, nothing. So again, 1 hit's not enough to hurt anybody in the front row. So we go back to the party. The cleric is 2 men, nothing. The halfling is 4 men, plus 1 with magic sword, nothing. The elf is 2 men, plus 2 with the magic sword. Oh, okay. 1 hit, which counts as 2. And again, they get plus 2 with the magic sword because it's a plus 2 sword. The elf in the back is a spear, 2 dice plus 1. Nothing. Okay, so they injured an ogre, but they didn't kill one. Back to the ogres. Ogre number 1, nothing. Ogre number 2, nothing. Ogre number 3, 1 hit. But again, 1 hit's not enough to do any damage. So back to the group. Cleric, 1 hit. Halfling, 1 hit. That kills an ogre. Elf with magic sword. No hits that time. Second elf with spear. No hits. But 1 more ogre goes down, which means we're now calling for a morale check. So if we look at morale, heavy foot, 7 or better. So I'm rolling this, 2d6. If they get 7 or better, they'll stay to fight. They do not. They're actually going to surrender. Okay. They surrender. The ogres drop their clubs. We surrender. And the party is going to capture them. So they will tie them up, as one does. And they will take their treasure. So there was 4 ogres in here. So, oh, nice. 6, 12. That's 1,300 gold pieces. And let's see. Will the ogres tell us where, well, we kind of know where to go. Yeah, so, I mean, let's see. Will they give us the answer as to where where the magic shield and stuff is? No. Okay. So I'm going to take that as they probably don't know because they surrendered, so they really should give in. So again, we're a lawful party. We're not going to put them to the sword. We don't really have any way to force them to tell us. So I think our best bet is going to be to tie them up, put them in here. We're going to spike the door shut behind them. So all that's going to take another turn. I can't remember if I rolled for Wandering Monster, but I will now. No Wandering Monster. Okay, so all that goes down, and we're going to move back. Oh, we're going to go into this room next, which I already rolled, and there's no monster in there, right? So, but let's see, we're going to open the door, which we do, because we listened and we would have heard if there was a monster, and there was no monster. But there could be treasure. So on a roll of a 1, there's treasure. There's not. All right. I think what we're going to do actually is wait here. We're not in a huge rush, partially because we can rest. Okay. We are going to have to suffer 1 more Wandering Monster check. But we can also listen to see if those ogres try to escape. So let's rest. Let's see if there's a Wandering Monster check. There is. Okay. Oracle. Is this those ogres? Did they break out? Yes, but a good thing. All right. So I guess the good thing is going to be that they don't realize that we just went next door because we opened that door so easily. So they basically bust out into the hallway and walk right into us. And we're ready for them. So we're going to surprise them. And of course, because they have done this, we're going to let loose with arrows. And, you know, now we don't feel bad about taking these guys out. So they're heavy foot. Let's walk our way through how we're going to do this. The cleric's going to do nothing because they don't have a missile weapon, but I'm just going to walk my way through. The halfling has a heavy crossbow. All right. Heavy crossbow versus heavy foot. 2 dice per man, 5 and 6 hits. Now with the crossbow, even though there's 2 ogres here, they can only actually kill 1 ogre because they're using a crossbow. With regular arrows, you can spread it out. So I'm going to do the crossbow first. So they are 2 dice per. So I don't really have enough dice, so I'll just roll twice. 5s and 6s hit. It's 2 hits. 3 hits. Okay, so it doesn't quite kill one of the ogres, but it mostly does. Now, our first elf with a longbow. Actually, they're not going to use their longbow. I know that sounds... yeah, they are. I said I was going to do it. That's what we're doing. Okay, so longbow versus heavy foot. 1 die per man, 5 or 6 hits. They are 2 men. Oh, I should add 1 more die because the halfling was in short range. No, okay. This elf is 2 men, but they're in short range, so they'll roll 3 dice. 5s and 6s hit. Okay, so that's 1 more. That kills that 1 ogre. And then this elf is 2 men plus 1, but again, they're in short range, so 3 dice. They can add 1 to one of them. So that's 2 hits. This elf right here is also 2 men plus 1, but they're in short range. Oh, and they also have a dex bonus. Oh, and so did they. So they had a dex bonus, this other elf. Nope, okay. So, like, just, again, 2 men plus 1, short range, dex bonus. And they can add 1 to one of these. 5s and 6s kills, so that's 1, 2 kills, and that's it. That literally is just enough to take the remaining ogres out. They should have stayed put, I guess is what the party thinks after that. If you've been enjoying these actual plays, and I assume you have since you're still here, please do take a minute to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, do all that good stuff. Also, check the description below. You'll find a link to my Patreon, where you can support the channel, and a link to my Discord server, where you can join up over there and have a conversation with lots of great people. Check the description below for all that information. I'll talk to you soon.